First at 4, Maryland voters, just 4 hours left for you to cast your vote on this primary day, and WSA 9 has you covered on all things election related. So glad you're with us this afternoon at 4. I'm Adam Longo.
I'm Leslie Foster, and for months the Maryland Senate race and other races have just dominated the political landscape. So how did the DMV do for the turnout?
Let's get the answer. Our Matt Gregory live in Montgomery County at Walter Johnson High School. Matt, you've been following the polls across our area today. Can you give us a sense of what turnout's been like?
I mean, from what I've seen from turnout so far, it seems to be a bit pedestrian, whether it's the rain or the races or it's a primary. We'll find out more about that in a bit. But we started out in Prince George's County today to kind of get a flavor of what was bringing voters out to the polls. And we're going to show you some video right now of what we saw. We were at William Peka Elementary over in Landover. And just some of the folks we talked to and a little bit of what we saw while we were there was that, the people who did come out around noon, most seemed to be relieved that this hotly contested Senate race is about wrapped up. When I talked to them, they were saying they've seen too many commercials, had too many door knocks about it, and a few voters did agree to talk to us, and we want to know from them what were some of the issues that brought them to the polls. And the voters we spoke to said some of them were some of the sort of issues from women's rights all the way to crime in our area. Take a listen. Do you vote in every primary, or is this
this is really my first one.
Yeah?
Yes. Truthfully.
It's quite a few changes that we have to make, that needs to be made.
Yeah, the women's rights.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be political. It should be a political choice.
The crime, they need to address the crime. And it's crazy out here with this crime going on.
Yeah, it's like we're going back in time, and we shouldn't. Roe v. Wade.
Ooh, undecided, really.
Yeah.
So whatever my heart goes with when I go in here, that's what I'm going to do.
You don't have to answer, but who'd you vote for?
Nope. I just try to give me. Have a great one. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, so, over here in Montgomery County, we want to get an idea of just what that looks like today over here in terms of the voter turnout. So joining me are two members of the Montgomery County Board of Elections. We have David Naiman, the president. We have Diane Nash Dillon here, who's one of the members. And David, we're going to start with you. What have you seen from turnout across the county so far? We were seeing kind of pedestrian Prince George's County. What does Montgomery County look like?
It's been light everywhere. It's been light everywhere throughout early voting, and it's been light everywhere today.
Yeah, I mean, any ideas of what might be? Is it the weather? Does weather usually affect these things, or what?
Weather can affect these things, but I think the biggest thing that's affecting it is that we don't have a contested presidential race in either party. And I think that often drives turnout.
And Diane, one of the things you and I have been talking about off camera is, how people can get out to vote. We talked about early voting, but, tell me a little bit about, your advocacy of getting people in person.
I would love to make a pitch for people to take the great advantage of our early voting. 8 days, 14 locations. There's not been a line once in any of the locations. Today the polls are open till 8 o'clock. Precincts in your neighborhood, no lines. Please come and avail yourself of the opportunity. We want everyone who's able to vote and registered to vote.
And when it comes to early voting, David, or is there, I guess when it comes to that, do you have any sort of idea of what that's looked like so far?
There were fewer people who voted early in this election than in the primary 2 years ago for governor. In that primary, of course, we did have a contested race for both governor and county executive. So we were, that was actually a pretty high turnout election for a gubernatorial year. But it's still very unusual for a presidential year to be lower. Yeah. And our early voting turnout was lower. I will say that, as Diane said, you have until 8 o'clock to vote in person. You also have until 8 o'clock to drop your mail-in ballot into the drop box, or you can get it postmarked at your local post office. But it has to be postmarked today, so putting it in the mailbox today may not accomplish that. If you're going to go to the post office, you might actually want to go to the post office and have it postmarked.
And then how many days until, I guess from today until it arrives, I think, is it 10 days? Is that how long?
We are required by law to count any eligible ballot that is postmarked by today and arrives by 10 a.m. on the second Friday from now, which is 10 days from now. So usually the ballots will arrive much sooner than that if they're postmarked today. Now I will say if they're postmarked tomorrow, we can't accept it. And every election we have hundreds of ballots that are postmarked too late and that we have to reject as untimely.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. So you heard them. You have till 8 o'clock today to come out and vote. And we're going to be here for the next hour or so, kind of getting an idea of like what it looks like, post work. Is there going to be more of a rush? Is it going to continue at the same pace? And we'll bring that to you in about an hour and a half here on WUSA 9. But for now, at Walter Johnson High School in Montgomery County, Matt Gregory, back to you.
Yeah, no excuse not to vote. If you don't vote, you can't complain. All right, Matt, thank you. All right, Ads, we're going to head over to you and your favorite thing to do in the course of a newscast.
That's right. I want to put a period on what Matt was talking about voter turnout, too. 4 years ago in the primary in 2020, voter turnout statewide in Maryland was around 44%. Compared that to the general election in 2020 when it was 75%. So the primary elections generally get a lot less folks out at the polls. I want to show you what we're going to be able to do tonight. We're going to be following all of the numbers here until the polls close tonight at 8 o'clock. And we're going to be able to show you the consequential races here and what we're going to be able to highlight for you. So right now I have called up the Democratic U.S. Senate primary here, the main two candidates that we'll be focused in on here, Angela Alsobrooks and David Trone. We're going to be able to track these for you county by county, and for instance in Montgomery County, to see which candidate is doing the best in each individual county and how many votes are still left to be counted. Another thing that we're going to be watching very closely tonight is on the presidential side. And the reason that we're going to be following that particularly closely is because this is frozen for a moment. Okay, because the nominees for both parties are all pretty much decided, right? It's going to be President Biden and former President Trump. But how many people are going to vote against them as sort of a protest vote? So on the Democratic side, you see uncommitted is a spot there. 15 states already have seen voters cast more than 10% of their votes for uncommitted against Joe Biden. There's been a movement in the state to go that way as well. Will that go to fruition? Will Maryland be the 16th state to go over 10% in uncommitted? And on the Republican side, so for anyone with a ballot, Nikki Haley, despite dropping out, is still on the ballot. How many votes will she get as a vote, as a sort of protest vote against Donald Trump? That's something we'll be watching closely, along with contests in the House districts, District 6, that's parts of Montgomery County, Frederick County, and then the western Maryland counties, and also in District 3, that's where former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, a Democrat, is running to try to win the Democratic primary there. That covers parts of Anne Arundel, Howard, and Carroll County. Some races that we'll be watching very closely as the numbers come in later tonight. Les?
Yeah, you've been talking about a lot of this, and of course, Ads, as we know, primary day in West Virginia. Voters are casting votes in the presidential race, weighing in on a U.S. Senate seat, 2 U.S. House seats, and several statewide races, including governor, attorney general, and auditor. The polls in West Virginia are open until 7:30 p.m. After today, you've got D.C.'s primary next, and that is for the city council seats and representatives in Congress. That is happening June 4th. Early voting in the district starts May 26th through June 2nd. Excluding Memorial Day. And then Virginia's congressional primary day is June 18th, and early voting is already underway through June 15th. And remember, we've got voting guides for you, including all of those important dates, who's on the ballot, what issues you'll vote on. Just text the word VOTE to 202-895-5599. We'll text you back with a link to the information you need. You'll also find this on our website, WUSA9.com. And once the polls are closed, WUSA 9 is the place for in-depth primary coverage. We will have up-to-the-minute results, real-time reaction from the candidates, and a look at what's next tonight on the news at 11. You can also stream us anytime for free on WUSA 9 Plus.